The ultimate tournament of everything.
Welcome to the ultimate tournament of everything, where we pit everything against everything else to figure out which one is better.
That's right. We're in a search for the ultimate greatness. All things against all other things. Who's going to come out on top? We're going to find out. And we're going to do so by ripping out pages of the encyclopedia, feeding them to a goat, and whichever one causes less indigestion will move on to the next round.
So close, and yet still so wrong. What we actually will be doing is picking two random pages off the Wikipedia and pitting them against each other to figure out which one we think is the best, based on categories such as, do we know what that thing is? Do we think it's interesting once we figured out that we didn't know what it was? Which article is longer? Which thing talks about something we think is fun? And maybe even how we're feeling at that particular moment. As you can see, very important things based on very weighty characteristics.
I think this all goes without saying. It's obvious. Let's see who's going to be competing in the first round of
The ultimate tournament of everything.
In round one, we have Adel Mahmoud, born the 31st of December 1988, a Hong Kong cricketer, against Peter Corbett, born August 24th, 1940, passed away May 23rd, 2015. You're not going to believe this. Totally random things. A South African cricketer. We have two cricketers. This is the very first time we've ever had anything remotely in the same category together.
Right off the bat, we've got two destined competitors facing off against one another. We should have ample criterion to discern which one of these should be moving on to the next round. Let's dig in.
Do you want to start with Adil or do you want to start with Peter?
Oh, I like to start with a dill because there's nothing better than a dill pickle. And nobody gets into a better pickle than a Hong Kong cricketer. He's a right-handed batsman who bowls right arm medium pace. I don't see necessarily statistics. I don't see him being in the Hall of Fame necessarily, but I do see that he bowled 18 balls.
So not knowing anything about cricket, I don't know what any of that means. It sounds like it's bowling, but I know there's a bat involved and then a wicket, I think, if that's the correct term.
A sticky wicket, that is. And I got to be honest, I don't know anything about cricket either. I thought it was baseball, but it certainly is not.
Well, according to this, in one of the matches, he bowled 3 wicketless overs, and an over consists of 6 legal deliveries bowled from one end of the cricket pitch to the player batting at the other end.
And that player could very well have been our other competitor in this round, Peter Corbett. You know,
unlikely, but possible.
Yeah, actually, let's see, 1940 to 2015 for Peter Corbett. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's not likely. However, Peter Corbett did play in 40 first-class cricket for Natal, Northeastern Transvaal, and Transvaal from 1958-59 to 1968-69. Again, I'm not sure what any of this means, Rob.
Well, first class is apparently the highest standard international or domestic matches in the sport of cricket. A first class match is one of 3 or more days scheduled duration between two sides of 11 players and is officially adjudged to be worthy of the status by virtue of the standard of the competing teams. Now, did Adil Mahmoud compete in first class cricket?
Well, he was part of the Hong Kong squad for the 2011 World Cricket League Division 3, but he didn't feature there. I don't think so.
Maybe he's not as good, although he is young, so it's possible that he could get better. Oh, it's a tough one.
I mean, let's just throw the obvious out there. Peter Corbett, he's deceased. And I've never heard of a deceased athlete winning a competition. So I think if we were to face them off together today, we would have a clear winner.
Well, yeah, but we're not facing them off against them today. I think we should go when they were the best to when they were the best. I think that's only fair. Otherwise, we're going to have plenty of things where we have deceased people against, I don't know, fish.
That does sound much more fair.
Looking at it, I think the resume of Peter Corbett outdoes the resume of Adil Mahmood.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. While Adil Mahmood has potential, he puts me in the Mahmood for wickets, if you will, sticky wickets perhaps. I think that Peter Corbett is the better bet, and he's going to get my vote in this round.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Where are you going to swing, Rob?
I got to say, I got to go with Peter Corbett as well. I think he is the better cricketer. I think he's the better pick. And, maybe Adil Mahmood will get there eventually, but he's not there yet. So Peter Corbett, he's moving on.
Peter Corbett, you not only win on the, what do they call a cricket field? Do they call it like a pitch or a wicket? Is that what a wicket is?
No, I think a wicket is the sticks they roll the ball at. I think it is the pitch.
Okay, well, hey, that's a strike to me. You're going to the next round in
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Let's get into round 2.
Are there strikes in? Look, we have a lot to learn about cricket. I think that's in the past now. Let's move on to round 2.
It's time for round 2.
I was going to wait for it. I wasn't going to move on unless we had that great round 2 music. In round 2, we have Ahmed Rajib Haider, who is a Bangladesh atheist blogger, against Dicrorhizma, a genus of dinoflagellates belonging to the family Dicrorhizmaceae. I have no idea what that is. This is going to get kind of interesting.
Dinoflagellates, is that like a T-Rex fart?
No, dinoflagellates are a monophyletic group of single-celled eukaryotes constituting the phylum Dinoflagellata and are usually considered algae. So we have algae against an atheist blogger from Bangladesh. He used to blog in the blogging communities, namely somewhere in blog.net, Amar blog, and Nagarik blog, and he used the pseudonym Thaba Baba.
That's a pretty good pseudonym.
Now, it looks like we don't have a birth date, but we do have a date of death. Died February 15th, 2013. After comments posted online about religious fundamentalism, he was murdered by machete-wielding activists from a militant group. Wow.
That's the realness that you get here in the competition that is the ultimate tournament of everything. That happened. It's a fact. It's one way to go. I'm looking at this genus of dinoflagellates, and while I still don't know what that is, I'm not sure if it has ever been dispersed in such a manner as our good buddy Ahmed.
So I think a flagellate, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember any of my college biology, I think that means they have a flagellum, one of those. It's basically a tail that they wave around and spin, and it's how they move.
And so it's basically an algae. It's mostly marine plankton. So it's just one of those things that kind of lives by floating around in the ocean. Is that right?
That sounds about right.
And this other guy was writing blogs about religious fundamentalism.
Yeah, he's a self-proclaimed atheist, posted his blogs under the pseudonym, like I said, Thaba Baba, where he questioned the historical authenticity of Islam. And the content of his writings were deemed blasphemous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I know we had the cricket player in the previous round, but this really feels like a sticky wicket to me.
Yeah, this is definitely a heavier topic than I think we're used to covering, but such is the mistress that is the random Wikipedia page.
Indeed, but even I know how to hack that. Rob, who's your choice for this round?
Ooh, that joke. Ooh.
Oh, that's not what I meant.
I'm going to give it to Ahmed Rajib Haider. I think that it is obviously very, very sad, very unfortunate what had happened to him. It shouldn't happen to anybody. And I think that he's definitely better than our algae friend in the other side of this here.
Much of what you said was true, but I can't make up my mind. So I'm going to throw my vote for the other one. And that means that we go to our tie-breaking procedure.
You want to tell the people what it is?
I surely do. We're going to fight to the death with pool noodles. The first one to succumb to injuries will have their selection eliminated from the competition. The others will move on to the next round of the ultimate tournament of everything.
I have a feeling that if we were to fight to the death with pool noodles, both of us would actually succumb to exhaustion, exposure, or dehydration before we either die from injuries due to pool noodle beating. So while that sounds like a good time, I'm going to have to pass, and we're going to go about it the normal way. We're going to pick a number between 1 and 1,000 based on the Google machine generator. Mike, what is your number?
I'm going to guess the number 788.
I'm going to go with 15.
All right.
Here we go.
So, what do we got?
144, which I believe makes me, and therefore Ahmed, the winner.
Ahmed Rajib Hadir, you are going to be moving on to the next round of this competition.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Congratulations to you.
Let's get into round 3.
Round 3 indeed.
It's time for round 3.
In round 3, we have Tuuli Takala, who is a Finnish classical singer and operatic soprano, against Guattarda acreata, which is a species of plant in the family Rubiaceae. Rubiaceae? It's a flowering plant commonly known as the coffee madder or bedstraw. Okay. So looking at this, the early life of Tuuli Takala, born into a musical family in Helsinki, began her musical education at the age of 5 with a violin, which remained her main instrument for almost 15 years. She also sung in various choirs, including the renowned Tapiola Choir and the EMO Ensemble.
She's still kicking around. She's still rocking. She went to the Sibelius Academy, again, as you say, prestigious. And I'm sure that background in violin definitely helped her as she transitioned to the vocal field, in which she excels to this very day.
Yeah, in 2018, she was named Female Singer of the Year.
That's huge. There are so many female singers, and to be named the Female Singer of the Year, I mean, can you do much better than that?
Well, let's check, because our plant friend on the other side might have something to say about it. So looking at it, this plant is endemic to Peru. And
Now, can you tell me what endemic means?
it means native, basically. It's native to Peru.
All right, so it's not like, because pandemic is no good.
No, pandemic bad. Endemic
But
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want to end an endemic anything.
No, that would be bad. Yeah,
All
that'd be like making it extinct if you were to end something being endemic to somewhere. Now
Okay.
there's some nice flowers. It looks like it's a flowering plant. Looks like a pretty simple thing here. It is near threatened on the classification status.
It's pretty much just a plant, though. I mean, if I was going to just, like draw a picture of a plant, it might look a lot like this.
Yeah, pretty generic, pretty general. Hey, that's a plant. I can tell it's plant-y.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tuuli Takala, which that's a great name. They're still out there doing. They played Susanna in The Marriage of Figaro, La Contessa di Folville in Il Viaggio a Reims, and Olympia in The Tales of Hoffmann.
Those are some good roles right there. That's impressive.
She sang also as a soprano soloist in Mozart's Great Mass in C minor. That one's great.
It's in C minor, though. Would you give us like a C minus? I don't know how minors work.
Well, they say that D minor is the saddest of all keys. So C minor has to be like just a little bit less sad. So is that good or bad in this context?
I guess it depends on the opera. You know what? We are talking a lot about Thule here, and I think that is saying something. I think we know who our winner is.
I just can't get my mind off of that soprano voice of hers. Thule Takala, I believe that you are our unanimous selection to move on to the next round in
The ultimate challenge of everything.
The things we learn on this show.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And we just kind of fall in, you know, we're interested. We got to learn more. And all of a sudden we realize there's a clear and away victor.
Let's get into round 4.
Round 4. You know, I know you don't like the round 4 music. And so I spent all night with, a group of scientists, artists, philosophizers. And I think that what we've created is something that you'll really appreciate and enjoy. The new round 4 blast. Are you ready?
I am. And you know what? I'm glad that you recognize that it scares me. And I'm glad that you've gone through some effort to make it better. I appreciate that.
Yep. Kid tested, mother approved. Here comes the round 4 sound.
It's time for round 4.
Did you make it worse? Because it seems worse. It seems scarier, actually. Not better, worse.
It did sound worse.
Why? Why would you do this? All the other ones are fantastic, but round 4 sounds like a werewolf is coming for me in my basement. Anyway,
let's move on so we don't just say gross.
Let's get in. Okay. Round 4, our contestants are the fundamental theorem of Hilbert spaces against the science of military strategy.
Now, I gotta be honest. This is what I've been looking forward to since about 2 seconds ago. These types of battles, these types of contests are really part of this event which we are undertaking. So I think now let's peel back the cover and check out our competitors.
Now, from what I can tell, the fundamental theorem of Hilbert spaces is a mathematical theorem specifically in functional analysis. The fundamental theory of Hilbert spaces gives a necessarily and sufficient condition for the Hausdorff pre-Hilbert space to be a Hilbert space in terms of canonical isometry of pre-Hilbert space and its anti-dual. Now, a Hilbert space, for our friends who maybe don't have the Wikipedia in front of them, allows generalizing the methods of linear algebra and calculus from finite dimensional Euclidean vector spaces to spaces that may be infinite dimensional. The Hilbert space is a vector space equipped with an inner product which defines a distance function. Now that is some math and some words that I don't think I can wrap my puny little human brain around, but I'm interested.
No. It sounds incredible, but I mean, even if you're looking at this page, it's half comprised of theorems and formulas and things like that, and I need a whole other page just to help me figure those out. I'm not bragging, but it's just the case. Now, it sounds really cool, and it sounds like if I knew what it meant, that would be helpful. But the other one could come in handy, I guess. So the science of military strategy, it's one of the main doctrinal military publications of the People's Liberation Army of China on the study of war. So it's basically a book on how to war.
But it's not the art of war. It's the science of military strategy, also known as SMS. Not to be confused with the text message.
Yeah, I mean, when you get down to it, isn't art and science pretty much the same thing?
I mean, yeah, once you get so far into it, it really is tough to distinguish. Now, this book, in a review of the book, Ming-Da Kui says the book still has not provided detailed analysis of the efficiency of different methods of deterrence, and that the theoretical construction is also not well completed to provide in-depth understanding aside from merely description. So while it sounds like it's something the Chinese military puts out every couple years, it sounds like it's maybe not detailed enough to be useful. That's interesting.
Well, do you really want to widely disseminate a super useful how to go to war book to your people? I mean, they've got over 1 billion people, and if all of a sudden they all knew how to like war super good, that could backfire. So like what I'm saying is, if you were going to create a pamphlet that you were going to send out all the time of like how to make a really dangerous water balloon, I think I would throw something in there that would like also put a needle in the water balloon, so it would backfire a little bit.
Now, this is interesting. The 2001 edition is 40% longer than the 2013 edition. The 2001 edition included strategic decision-making, war preparations, war control. Now, some of these things I don't think are in the newer version. I think strategic decision-making, probably pretty important. Maybe they've mastered it. Maybe it's just common over there and they don't need it in their new war manual. But I think here we'd probably include it.
Well, I think that if you're going to be reading this book, you're obviously making some strategic decisions. But if you're going to make the most strategic decisions, then you should probably understand the fundamental theorem of Hilbert spaces, because that goes into infinity. And so that's why I'm laying down my vote in this round of the ultimate tournament of everything for the fundamental theorem of Hilbert spaces. What do you say, Rob? What's your vote?
Oh, this is a tough one. I think we could spend many, many minutes reading both of these and understanding very little. But I think I'm going to go with you just because I really think it's fun to talk about a Hilbert space, and I'm probably going to use it at dinner, explain it poorly, and sound like the smartest person in the room, unless someone else actually knows what it is.
Sounds excellent. Science of military strategy, you're the Dilbert to our Hilbert, the fundamental theorem of Hilbert spaces. You're moving on to the next round.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Nice. Wow, tough one.
Tough one. You know what time it is now, though?
It's time for round 5.
Round 5. Round 5.
I love me some round 5 music. In round 5, we have Thomas Warton The Elder, an English clergyman and schoolmaster, against Harvest, Alabama, an unincorporated community and census-designated place in the northwest part of Madison County, Alabama.
Yet another example of a community against a single individual. Will the will of the masses outweigh the will of the one? Let's find out.
Now, it looks like Thomas Warton was born in 1688. He's the son of Anthony Warton, vicar of Godalming. He matriculated at Hart Hall in Oxford, soon migrated to Magdalen College, where he held a demyship.
He was known as second professor of poetry at Oxford, a position he owed to Jacobite sympathies.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. He married Elizabeth, the second daughter of Joseph Richardson, rector of Dunsfold. We really need more of these fun titles, right? I would love to be rector of someplace.
Rector? Never mind.
Warton was a writer of occasional verse, but published none collectively in his lifetime. Now, after his death, his son Joseph issued by subscription poems on several occasions by the Reverend Thomas Warton.
You know who might have a subscription to some of those poems is one of the 5,893 people which live in Harvest, Alabama. Now, this is, as you said, an unincorporated community, so we love our small towns. It's right at the northernmost part of Alabama, and you go much further, you're in an entirely different state.
Now, it looks like the main geographical feature is Capshaw Mountain, which rises to 1,250 feet above sea level. The top of this small mountain is the site of several substantial communication towers used by local radio stations.
Okay, so you're never too far from the local FM station, The Rock.
Looks like we have 1,092 households and 898 families living in this community. Oh,
Seem to
hang on.
have pretty good schools.
Those are old numbers. I take that back. According to our newer numbers, 1,882 households.
Okay, that makes a difference in my mind.
Now, if we had to pick one, and we do, because that's the whole point, are we going with Thomas Warton the Elder or the quaint little town that is Harvest, Alabama?
You know, when you say it like that, I think the answer becomes very clear. It's Thomas Warton the Elder for me, and I'm going to tell you why. This guy has a great name. He's the Elder, and come on, Alabama, you're cool and all, but are you as cool as Thomas Warton the Elder? When you become Alabama the Elder, give me a call. But till then, the other one's moving on to the next round, in my opinion, of the ultimate tournament of everything.
You know, towns do really well in this show, right? Towns fare really, really well, especially small ones. They tend to punch way above their weight class. And I don't want to upset the wonderful people of Harvest, Alabama. And while I'm sure it's great, the Wikipedia entry is just not selling it. So I'm going to have to go with Thomas Warton the Elder as well.
Thomas the Elder, you are number one. Moving on to the next round in
The ultimate tournament of everything.
Round 6.
Make the turnaround race. Curly Tommy comes around the last side. And there you have it. There is your winner. Round 6.
In round 6, we have Fleurs Somme, a commune near the northern edge of the Somme department in France, and Lethbridge Railway Station.
Now, these are two, they used to be friends, now they're enemies, and they meet here in this ultimate battlefield to ultimately determine which one will become the victor. Let's open up this book and dig in.
Now, from what I can tell from Fleurs, the main part of its history is in 1916, the Battle of Flers-Courcelette, probably it's French, saw the first use of the tank in the field of battle.
Huh.
Yeah. First time anybody used a tank right there. Now, the population of Fleurs is small, 159 people as of 2006, which is the latest year we have numbers for.
Oh, look, they have scenic trenches.
Scenic trenches. Are you sure those aren't just the regular trenches they didn't fill in?
I've seen them.
That makes them scenic. You've seen them. Now, Lethbridge Railway Station is a station in the Geelong-Ballarat railway line located in the township of Lethbridge in Victoria, Australia. Australia showing up again. Currently, freight trains pass the station, but there's no passenger trains.
The main Bluestone station is boarded up, but some of the ancillary weatherboarding buildings are in a semi-derelict state.
It's not a great thing.
Well, no. Look at this. There's a little picture here. It basically looks like a house that's right next to some railroad tracks, and there's a big awning under which I assume the community would gather before they would depart. I think it's pretty sweet. That's where I would want to get on a train, except for they don't seem to sell snacks.
Yeah, they don't sell snacks. It doesn't look like the trains actually stop there. You'd probably have to jump onto the train. How is your jumping?
My jumping is not good enough to get me across one of the trenches in Flers Somme. As you said, few people. Most of them have probably fallen into the trenches. Digging into the trenches of this battle and looking at them, I think I'm going to have to go with my favorite, the Lethbridge Railway Station. What do you say, Rob? Who are you throwing your gauntlet down for?
It always surprises me how well random semi-abandoned train stations tend to do in this competition, and this is it again. Lethbridge, I think, yeah, I got to agree. Lethbridge is moving on.
I mean, you can't debate it. Lethbridge, you're right on time here in
The ultimate tournament of everything.
All Aboard.
All aboard to round 7.
Round 7. Oh, let's see here.
Round 7. Round 7. Round 7. Round 7.
In round 7, we have Hijikata Katsunaga, who is the 12th and next to last daimyo of Kimono Domain in Ice Province, modern-day Mai Prefecture, against Gould H. Redmond, an American sportsman and prominent member of this society during the Gilded Age.
The Gilded Age, you say?
Yeah, I think that means gold, perhaps? Is that what guild means?
Well, Mr. Katsunga spoke a different language, and so he wouldn't necessarily probably be the one to ask about that. However, he would be the one to ask if you wanted to know about a lot of other things. Let me dig into this article to find out what those things are.
Looks like he was born April 22nd, 1851, and he died at the age of 33, May 10th, 1884. He was married. Did have a spouse. Doesn't mention anything about children. Oh, well, hang on. Adopted son, perhaps?
Now, he became daimyo at the age of 7, and I'm not totally sure what that is. So I think we need to dig into that just a little bit, because that's probably important.
Feudal lords, basically.
Okay, so we've basically got a 7-year-old who's pushed, oh yes, Japanese magnates, feudal lords. Holy cow, he was planning all sorts of stuff. 7-year-old, he should have been watching Blue's Clues.
You know what? The Blue's Clues almost off the ground then. I think they did have Sesame Street, but Blue's Clues, that's a little too new to make it into the year 1884.
Just missed.
Let's take a look at Gould. Gould Hoyt Redmond, born April 30th, 1838, deceased December 21st, 1906, born in New York City, son of William Redmond and Sabrina Elizabeth.
Now, what is a sportsman?
That is a great question. I always thought a sportsman was kind of like a hunter, I suppose. Kind of like Gaston, I guess, but nicer.
Yes, but a hunter of what? Let's dig into his personal life. Here it says that Redmond, who did not marry, was known as, quote, the greatest beau of New York. Along with Lispenard Stewart and James Parker, he was known for entertaining in, quote unquote, bachelor fashion. So I feel like we've got a free swinging, partying type of dude. And on the other side, we have a Japanese individual who was escalated to a leadership role at the age of 7.
Now, it does look like our friend Gould here was a member of the New York Zoological Society. So that's probably good. Looks like he helped with some conservation in some way. But
okay, but somebody that's a sportsman helps out in conservation and also is in the Zoological Society sounds like somebody who's probably trying to hunt some sort of exotic animal. I don't know this guy, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Back then, that's probably exactly what happened. Now, is that a mark against him? Is that enough to knock him down and make our friend Hijikata the winner?
Well, I don't think that's really all it's going to take. Hijikata, he died in 1884 at the age of 34. And he's buried to this day in Tokyo.
Now, I will say it's kind of interesting this time period in Japan's history. A lot of cool things going on, a lot of interesting things going on. I guess maybe cool's maybe the wrong word. It was very violent from what I understand. But they did have samurai, which, yeah, you know, that's really cool.
We understand nothing. Gould, you're not getting the gold. I am throwing my vote down for Hijikata Katsunaga for my vote in this, the
ultimate tournament of everything.
What say you, Robert?
I got to agree with you. Although I think out of the 7 or 8 times we pronounced his name, I think it was different every time and probably wrong all of them. So we're sorry. But yes, I think he does move on.
Hey, there's a picture of him, but he died in 1884.
They had cameras then.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. They totally had cameras then. They
Like
weren't...
little Polaroid ones?
Probably not the little Polaroid ones. Yeah, they...
Oh, those big poofers. Those...
Yes, those. The with like the... You had to stand still for 5 minutes, and then there's this like flash and a bunch of smoke, but then you can't really move yet. Those. That's why no one smiles, because have you ever tried to smile for 5 minutes?
Well, I think we should bring those back.
The big poofy flash things or the non-smiling photos?
Pretty much anything incendiary next to a long photo shoot that could expedite the process.
Say photographers on fire.
Heyo, let's move on to round 6.
8.
We can turn around and ask her. He comes around.
8. Round 8.
Would you by chance have any
Round 8!
Of course, I meant round 8.
Numbers are difficult. This is why we don't understand the fundamental theorem of Hilbert spaces. In round 8, we have Khalid Said Khan against Gisenyi, historically rendered as Gisenyi with a K, a city in Rubavu district in Rwanda's western province.
Okay, so let's take a real good look here. Khalid Said Khan looks like a modern-day individual, born in 1955, still kicking around. Mostly, it seems, in Pakistan. Smart guy, smartly dressed, sharp beard. Definitely going to be a worthy competitor.
Looks like he got his Bachelor's of Science in Physiotherapy from JPMC Karachi in 1978. He also did a course of sports medicine by Dr. Thomas Freud, Canada, organized by the Federation of International de Football Association.
Ooh, he's a baller.
He's also won some awards. He was initially appointed as assistant physiotherapist in 1980. Later in 86, he became a lecture physiotherapist and was later promoted again.
And it seems that he attended the Conference for Torture Victim Patients at Lahore in 1991.
Not only is he a smart man, he's also doing some very good work helping some very underserved people. Good on him. Good on him. Now let's take a look at Gisenyi.
If you're going to take a look at Gisenyi, you're going to see some scenic freaking land. It's right on a huge lake. It's got a Lake Kivu, it seems. There's a beach. It's lovely in Rwanda. I mean, if you're going to be in Rwanda, I would think you'd want to be by the beach, right?
Yeah, probably. If you would want to be in Rwanda, they had a very violent civil war. Is that right? It's not listed in here, so I could be entirely wrong.
Well, it is a little bit listed. See, Gisenyi has 2 borders with Goma, the Petite Barriere and the Grand Barriere. And they're a bit misleading, these titles, because the Petite Barriere is actually physically larger and features much higher traffic volumes. But on the Gisenyi side, a large customs and immigration office was built with a large capacity. And where am I going with this?
Well, I think you wanted to get to the bottom of that paragraph there. During the Rwandan genocide, the provincial government was based in that city. It's a city where Laurent Nkunda, accused by the United Nations of having led an army that illegally recruited Congolese child soldiers. There we go. That's the part that I thought I was remembering. Yikes. There it is.
Yeah, definitely trying to work there. But hey, we're talking about the place. We're not necessarily talking about the people nor the persons who may have created child armies.
That's true. You're right. I got to separate that. Right now we are talking about just the place. And it sounds like they have some good things. It looks like they have a campus of Kigali Independent University, enrolls about 3,400 students pursuing degrees such as economics and business studies, social sciences, and even law.
Wow. And this particular town has about 30 public and private schools, including nursery, primary, and secondary schools. Education is a big deal here in Gisenyi.
And that's
No question.
That's pretty good for a town of 86,000 people, about 4 square miles in total area. That is a lot of schools and universities. So good on them. That's a good priority for them.
So if that town cares so much about education that they're educating each one of their 86,000 people, do you really think that Professor Khaled Singh Khan has influenced that many students?
Oh, there's no way. There's no way.
There's no way. There's no way. Therefore, I think I'm going to have to make my decision and throw my vote for Gisenyi in this round of the ultimate tournament of everything.
I agree.
What say you, Rob?
I agree. I think it's definitely going to Gisenyi. They move on.
All right, Gisenyi, you're Gisen going to the next round.
The ultimate tournament of everything.
You know what time it is, Mike?
Oh, I know exactly what time it is. It's time for round 4. Are you ready for that beautiful music?
No. We did round 4 5 less scary rounds ago. It's time for round 9, and I think the song even says that.
Let's see about that.
It's about time for round 9. Round 9.
And I'd like to just stop right here and thank our beautiful fans who have sent in most of these sounds that you're hearing between the rounds. Feel free to send in any fan mail, any clips that you want to be sent in. We're definitely going to play them, 100%. You send them to us, we'll put them on the air. You make it sound like anything that sounds mildly usable, come on, it's going to get on this show. Do you want to be famous? Send us a blast.
You definitely won't get famous by sending one in, but we will definitely use it. For those of you that don't know, we do 9 rounds. So we are in our final round, and in our final round we have Ibrahim Khalil, who is a politician in Bangladesh, against Mittelsberg, which is a mountain in Germany.
Now, I've never heard of Mittelsberg. Is it Mount Mittelsberg? Is it Mittelsberg Mountain, or is it just straight up Mittelsberg?
I think it's just Mittelsberg, because that's all I got. It just says Mittelsberg, and then there's a lot of German, which unfortunately I do not speak. So let's take a look at Ibrahim Khalil instead, because that article is longer and has more English. Born in 1947 to the Bengali Muslim Bala family, undertook his education at the University of Dhaka, served as the first general secretary of the Haji Muhammad Muhin Hall Student Council, played an important role in the 11-point program against the president of Pakistan. Okay.
Now, I gotta say, I'm gonna need you to send that link to me, because I don't have it here. I'd love to learn more about this this topic here. I want to give it the full credence that I can.
There he is. Now you can learn all about Ibrahim Khalil. Looks like
that's all I want.
Looks like he died on July 7th, 1981 in London due to illness.
Now, we're not going to hold that against him, because that would not be fair.
That is true.
Most of the people that have ever existed anywhere are dead.
That is also true. That math holds up.
Yeah. I mean, most of anything that's ever been anywhere is dead.
But not Mittelsberg. That mountain is still mountaining.
Now that mountain is, you know how they say that, what was the mountain in, where's Zeus live? Mount Olympus. You know, they say that was the source of the gods, you know, but I've always thought of Mittelsberg as really the source of the middle. And without the middle, the top and the bottom would just fall together.
Now, looking at pictures of Mittelsberg, it is a very, very pretty place. Looks like there's a lot of skiing around there. Looks very much like where The Sound of Music probably took place.
Do the hills look alive?
They do. They definitely do. So every once in a while, we get two competitors that, while there might not be a lot to say about them, there definitely still must be a competition. So looking at this, for me, I think it's very clear. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I can't front. Mittelsberg is gorgeous. But let's see how Ibrahim Khalil looks, huh? We got to dig a little bit deeper. We're going to go off of Wikipedia, dig right into the Google image searches, and we're going to see who these people are. I'm seeing a bunch of different people, so it's tough for me to tell exactly, but they all look like swell individuals.
None of these Ibrahim Khalils look like the right one because the one we're looking for passed away in 1981. All these pictures look very recent. Here's a guy's YouTube channel. Definitely not that guy. Here's a guy with a studio album on iTunes. Also not that guy. Here's a guy using Microsoft Surface. Definitely not him. I don't think we can trust any of these.
The hills are alive. Ibrahim Khalil, we said we wouldn't hold it against you, but you're not, so I guess we are. And you're not moving on to the next round, Mittelsberg. You are in this competition called
The ultimate turtle jump everything.
Always a good time. Make sure to join us next week when we pit more random things against other random things.
Hey, wait. Can we go back?
Of course.
Yeah, because Ibrahim Khalil, I just want you to know that if I get a chance to bring in a wild card, I'm definitely going to consider you as being my wild card. So you stay prepared. You stay, just be ready.
Well, after that love letter to Ibrahim Khalil, I'm sure he loves that. But he is unfortunately the loser of this round. He can't move on. I'm sorry.
I guess we're going to have to move on. And if you want to move on with us, you can catch us next week here for the next episode of
The ultimate turtle jump everything.